Hello and welcome to another Learning is Change CarCast, where I get to broadcast directly from the Google Glass, sitting on my dashboard so I can look straight ahead and keep some semblance of safety. Today I want to talk about a choice professional development experience last night. The Blend-tastic Bombastic Personalized PD Part 2 was last night at Grant Beacon Middle School, and had a really good time going and seeing all of the folks that were attending, and doing a little bit of leading an unconference session there. That was really pretty exciting, and there were a lot of people who were engaged, and I think there were about 45 participants and another probably 15 presenters, so probably around 60 people were there. And it made me think about one thing a lot, and I want to talk about that today. So the thing that it made me think about was the idea that when you present choice, that some choices are not going to be chosen at all, or they're going to be chosen very, very little. So there were some sessions that had like 20 people in them, but because there were 15 sessions, there were some sessions that had absolutely none. And then the presenters of those sessions just became participants and went to other sessions or struck up other conversations where they were engaged in, otherwise in the learning. But the point of this is that when we present choice, we realize that teachers and leaders are not always going to choose what we would have chosen for them had we orchestrated it where everybody went to a particular session here and then a particular session here. When we present choice, we have to be okay when they choose something different than what we would choose or what we would choose for them. And I think that's actually something that we don't recognize necessarily. Like, the idea is that it's okay to have two people in a session and it's still worthwhile because those two people got exactly what they needed. And it's okay when the presenter no longer has to present because they are now engaged otherwise in the learning process, and they become an active learner and it is helping in another session, helping to co-facilitate or to create learning otherwise. And so, I think that when you have a session that, oh man, nobody chose this, somehow it becomes a reflection upon you as a teacher or a leader, but it actually isn't. It's a reflection on choice. It's a reflection on there are so many great choices that we've presented for people that at this particular moment, the urgency or importance of something else was paramount. That the priority that someone else had or that all of the participants had was not for what you have a priority of. And to me, that's actually kind of exciting. The idea is that we are presenting our adult learners with choices, and that we can actually see in a very real way what are the things that they are finding most impactful. In the unconference session that I was leading, there was a woman who was talking about the sort of the central question, the one that she keeps on coming back to, and that question is, what is it that I can do that will have the most impact, or what can I impact? And she asked herself that question a lot because everything becomes a choice at that point. Saying, if I make this choice, I'm going to have this level of impact or this type of impact. And if I make this choice, it's going to have a different impact. And to me, that was like sort of this guiding question for almost the whole of choice professional learning, which is that people are making choices based upon the impact that they would like to see in their practice, in their classrooms, in their lives, really. And I think we have to be okay with that choice. Now, we can orchestrate things differently, have fewer sessions, fewer choices, and things like that, but it almost seems artificial at that point to say, if you have 5 people in a session, then that's okay, or you have 15 people in a session, then that's worthwhile. Whereas if you have more sessions and more choices and there are 1 or 2 people, while that's a totally different type of session than, if you have 30 people or something like that, it's still valuable. It's still worthwhile to the people that were there and engaging in it. And I think when we start to open up this idea of personalized professional learning, we have to be okay with people making choices differently than what we would have made. And so I guess I would leave it at that. But I wonder what other types of things that we would normally see as sort of disrupting the natural order of a professional learning experience or of a conference or something like that, should we be okay with when we bring about choice? When we say everyone can choose where they want to be and what they want to learn about, what questions they want to ask. What kinds of things are disrupted when we present that level of choice to people? Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to continue the conversation on the comments and in Google+.